Hey everybody, this is Notes 53. So today we're learning the law of sines, and the law of sines is used to solve for a triangle. So we've worked with SOHCAHTOA, and SOHCAHTOA we know it only works with right triangles. Those are the ones that have the box in the corner there. They have to have a 90-degree angle. So SOHCAHTOA only works with right triangles, so we have to do something else for what we call non-right triangles. And when we have right triangles, it's really easy to say, okay, this is my hypotenuse, that would make this my opposite and my adjacent. But it's not so easy to name them when we don't have a hypotenuse. It means we don't have an opposite or an adjacent either. So what we do is we use capital letters for our angles, like we see here, right? So that would be our A. And then we see lowercase letters for our sides. So if we go straight across, we see that side A is this one right here, right? So we use a lowercase a to talk about that. We also have angle B, which is here, and we go straight across to side B, which would be here. And then finally we have angle C, and we go straight across to side C. So that's going to be our naming for today. So we use a new formula, and that formula is called the law of sines. If we want to find angles, we put our angles on top. So we have to do our sine of our angle A, capital A, is going to be over our side A. So angle A is related to side A. Then we have sine of B is related to sine B. And we have our sine of C is related to sine C. So here we would see that we have our angles on top and our sides on bottom. That's because we're trying to find angles. We put that on top. If we want to find sides, we put our sides on top. So I would put A, little a on top, little b on top, and little c on top. That's going to be our sides. And then we put our angles on bottom. Sine A, sine big B, sine big C. And that's going to be our angles there. All right, so these are going to be our formulas for today. And whatever we want, we're going to put on top. So let's look at an example. So in this case, I want to find side C. So first, I'm going to identify what I have. I want to find side C. That's my goal. I want to find this side over here. And I see that it's related to angle C, which is 105. Right? So I know that section there. And then I also see that I have another pair. I have this side here, which is 7. It's across from B, and so I know that this is little b right there. So then I know that angle B, as I can see here, is 35 degrees. Let's put a degree sign there. Try not to forget. So this is what I want to know right here. That's what I want to know. So I'm going to set that on top. So I'm going to put C on top, because that's what I want to know, over sine 105, like that. And it's going to be equal to my other one, which I have, my B proportion. I have my sides on top, so I'm going to have 7 on top, and sine 35 degrees on bottom. And then once I have my proportion, I just need to solve. So I'll solve here in purple. I see C, I want to get C by itself. I see that it's divided by sine 105. So I'm going to do the opposite, which is multiply by sine 105 on both sides. Right, so that's going to cancel these and leave out C equals. I'm going to do this part in my calculator first, 7 divided by sine 35. And when I do that, 7 divided by sine of 35, I'm going to get 16.348, and that's a decimal. I'm going to leave it in my calculator, and I'm going to multiply times sine 105. So I'm going to multiply that times sine 105, and I'm going to get 15.866. And you know what, guys? I actually think that that is not correct, because my calculator is in radians. So let me grab my calculator and put it in degrees this time. All right, so we have 7 divided by sine 35. That's actually going to give me 12.204. And then I'm going to multiply that times sine 105. There we go. I'm going to give me 11.788. There are more decimals, but that's the corrected version. So we could say 11.79 if you wanted to round to 2, or we could say 11.8. Right? Any of these answers are correct. Excel is going to ask you for 11.8. So just a note to be careful, your calculator should be in radians. So for this next one, we are finding angle B. So angle B is what we're looking for. I'm going to see what it's connected to, little b. So here's angle B. I'm going to go straight across. Little b is 4.7. Switch colors here. I know that the other angle that they give me is angle C. Angle C, and that's 63 degrees right there. And it's connected to 5.5. So C is 5.5. So on my proportion, what I want is angle B. So I'm going to write that on top. Sine B over the B that goes with it, which is 4.7. And it's going to be equal to sine C, which is 63, over 5.5. Right? So I see I have my angles on top and my sides on bottom. And then I want to get my sine B by itself. So I'm going to multiply both sides by 4.7. What I do to one side, I have to do to the other. It's going to cancel here and leave me with sine B equals, I'm going to do this in my calculator. I'm going to type sine 63, to close my parentheses, divided by 5.5, and then I'm going to multiply that times 4.7, and I'm going to get 0.7614. There's more there. And then I remember that in order to get rid of sine, I have to use the sine inverse. What I do to one side, I have to do to the other. So I'm going to take the sine inverse. Let me do this on my calculator, sorry. Take the sine inverse of my answer. And I'm going to get, these are going to cancel and leave me with B equals 49.588. That's going to be degrees because it is an angle. All right, I could also write angle B is 49.59 degrees, or I could write B is 49.6 degrees. All of those would be equal. Excel, again, is going to ask you for tenths, the tenths place. So those are my problems. If I'm thinking about this with just like trying to figure out my steps, my first step would be to figure out what I have, figure out what is given, just like SOHCAHTOA. Step 2 would be to write my equation. Step 3 would be to solve it. You could do cross multiply and divide, you could just get rid of the thing on the bottom, etc. So those are my 2 problems. Feel free to jump off here if you're ready to just work on the bottom 2, or keep watching for our next problem. So on the next one, it doesn't give us a triangle this time, so I'm going to go ahead and draw my triangle. A, B, C, A, B, and C. And it tells me some information. So I see here that C equals 12. That's a little c, so I know it's a side. So I'm going to go across from C and put a 12 over here. This side is 12. And then it says C equals 20 degrees. So I know that this is 20 degrees in there. From there, it also tells me that A, capital A, is 45. So I know this is 45 degrees. And I know that straight across, this side over here is going to be A. So I already have some information there. I could try to figure out what B is. That's angle B, and then we have lowercase b here. So I'm going to set up my equation. I'm going to look for A here, so I'm going to write that first. A over, and then I'm going to look and say, oh, I have 45, so I have sine 45 degrees is equal to, I'm going to set up my green one, 12 over sine 20. From here, I can solve by multiplying both sides by sine 45. Sine 45, cancel here, I get A equals, I do 12 times sine 20, gives me 4.1, times sine 45, gives me 2.9. 2.9, is that right? Let's see. Oh, 12 divided by sine 20 should be 35 times sine 45. Should be, there we go, 24.809. And that would be what my A is. So once I know what my A is, this one here, that would go there. Once I know what my A is, I can also figure out what B is, because solve means to find all the pieces. So B here would be the 180 minus 45 minus 20, because it's a triangle. So that would be 115 degrees, and that would be right here, 115 degrees. From there, I can find my side B and move on. Thanks, guys.